Sister Mary Margaret that I had for some of the science and chemistry was very good at that. And she sort of took me under her wing, and so we had some discussions, and I did some stuff for her in the way of prepping for some of the experiments we did and such, and it further intrigued my interest in chemistry. And I think that was one of the key takeaways of my getting into chemistry, is that it gave me a way to look at a problem, find similar facts that essentially would be like in the same type of family, and use that to help a solution. And that served me well in my career. Of course, there's a lot of pride when you have a team and wonderful team membership, and everyone worked for the good of the team and for the success. And so that was really good. And I found that as a leader for this type of organization, what I had to do is just make sure I cleared the pathway and let them do their jobs and not look over their shoulder and try to tell them what they should be doing, since they knew, everyone knew, was on board what the plan was. So that was really my major role, and it was just a very big source of pride for me. Gatorade was in 6 countries when it was bought by Quaker in 1984. And when I retired, not when I retired, but after 5 years with Gatorade, we were in 45 countries, and that's where all my mileage and travel, since I was heading for the product development as well as the package and the process support for engineering. So I got to see a lot of the world through that. It was wonderful and a blessing to have such an opportunity. And so when I was hiring a director for the Southeast Asia part of the business, that was to cover that area, I had to do some interviews. So I flew from Chicago to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, the capital, and it was quite a long flight, about 12 hours, with one stop in Singapore. Anyway, I got interviewed the 3 people that were vying for the position of director, and then got on the airplane an hour later and flew back, and I had the same airline crew on the United flight, and then my secretary always got me the same seat because I'm 6'3", and wanted the more legroom even in first class. So I had the same seat, and when the flight attendant came by, I had flown with her before in some earlier flights. She said, "Weren't you just on this flight?" And I said, "Yeah, just a few hours ago." She says, "Oh my God." And I said, "It's part of my job." She said, "It's part of mine too, but I get paid for it." And I said, "Well, I get paid for it too, but probably a little more than you do." And so we had a good laugh over that. And she said, "By the way, my husband's getting a little suspicious. We've got to stop flying together." So we had a lot of good joking times with all those flights that I took. Getting to meet people and work with them like Franco Harris, I had got to know because I had given him a grant for some of the events he was doing within the city of Pittsburgh, and was supporting essentially some of the inner city programs. So as I was coming into the Atlanta for the Super Bowl, I had just flown in from South America and was at the NFL hotel where we stayed. As I walked in the door, there was Franco Harris standing with Lydell Mitchell, who used to play for Penn State and I believe the Baltimore Colts. Anyway, Franco sees me and says, "Ron, here, I want you to meet Lydell." So I come over there, and Sharon is there, and we had just come in, and Franco said, "This is my friend Ron Rogowski from Gatorade." And Lydell looks at me and says, "And what team did you play for?" And my wife says, "You just made his year, not alone just his day." Well, I always remember something that must have been when I was in grade school at St. Paul's. We were reading some things about the Bible and such, and what God expects and what is expected of us. And there was always the phrase, "When much is given to you, much is expected." And that's what I really believed in. I had a wonderful career, and I never had a day of complaint about it, and was lucky and had really choice blessings to be able to do this and to have that experience. the least I could do is to give back and ensure that other people have scholarships and such and funds that help them achieve their goal and to do something that helps their fellow man and has a chance to give back and support worthwhile causes.